She is there right now, as you read this. In the darkness that blankets the Arctic for months, there exists a creature you will probably never see, the white wolf. And there is something that conventional documentaries do not tell. There is something that makes this predator one of the most extraordinary creatures that evolution has ever created. Something that defies not just death, but the very logic of animal survival itself. In certain weeks, a white wolf can traverse more than 300 kilometers in search of food. That is approximately the distance from New York City to Washington, D.C. She crosses ice where exposed flesh freezes solid in minutes. 300 kilometers. To find a single meal. To locate prey that may not exist. But this is only the beginning of understanding what makes the white wolf extraordinary. Because while she walks, while she hunts, while she survives in conditions that would kill most creatures in hours, she does something that practically no other predator can do. She thinks. She plans. She uses strategies that most humans would take days to comprehend fully. She does not simply react to her environment. She problem solves in real time. She adjusts tactics based on wind direction, prey behavior, seasonal patterns, and the presence of competitors. Caribous can run faster. Musk oxen have horns capable of puncturing vital organs. Caribou herds number in the thousands, offering safety in numbers. The white wolf weighs merely 40 kilograms. She is often traveling alone. She has no natural armor. She has no advantage in raw speed. And yet, she dominates. She has dominated this ecosystem for thousands of years. There are packs of white wolves that achieve hunting success rates that would make professional hunters weep. Some populations succeed in approximately 1 of every 4 attempts. There are female wolves that appear to time reproduction for seasons when food will be most abundant. Their pups are born into abundance rather than scarcity. There are social structures so complex that scientists studying them are still uncovering patterns that contradict everything we think we know about predator hierarchy. But there is something more. Something that bends everything you think you know about predators and survival. There are reports of white wolves sacrificing their own meals to feed pups that are not their own biological offspring. Of wolves that remain with the pack even though they are physically capable of competing for leadership and reproductive rights. Of behaviors that defy simple evolutionary explanation. Yet these persist year after year, generation after generation, across multiple populations and decades of observation. There are behaviors suggesting what might be called mourning. There is cooperation that goes beyond genetic advantage. There is communication of stunning complexity. There are hunting tactics that appear to be deliberately taught. They are passed down like knowledge rather than instinct. What is the secret that allows a 40-kilogram creature to dominate one of the planet's most extreme environments, while simultaneously maintaining social structures that suggest forms of thinking we are still learning to comprehend? The answer lies not in any single adaptation. It lies in the convergence of physical, mental, and social evolution, operating together in perfect synchronization. In the Arctic, ignorance lasts only until the first hunt. Then evolution teaches everything. If you could design the perfect predator for a world of eternal ice, you would need to think like an engineer, a physicist, and a survival expert. You would design the white wolf. Her coat is not simply white. It is white for reasons that reveal design transcending random evolution. It has 2 completely distinct layers. Each serves a different critical function in the orchestra of survival. The outer layer is dense and coarse. Guard hairs repel water and wind with remarkable efficiency. These hairs stand perpendicular to the skin. They create an outer barrier that deflects precipitation and ice crystals that would otherwise penetrate deeper. The inner layer is where the real sophistication happens. It is densely packed with down-like fur. This creates insulation so effective that a white wolf can rest on ice at -50 degrees Celsius without trembling. She does not expend precious energy on shivering. Her body temperature remains constant. This biological insulation system rivals any synthetic material humans have created for extreme weather gear. But this is only the beginning. Her paws are dramatically wider than any other wolf species. They function as natural snowshoes. This distributes her weight across a larger surface area. She can move across terrain that would trap and exhaust other predators. Specialized tissues beneath the paw pads can withstand contact with ice for extended periods without frostbite. Beneath the skin of her limbs lies something that still impresses physiologists. A countercurrent vascular system represents millions of years of refinement. Warm arterial blood flowing outward to the extremities passes directly alongside cold venous blood returning from the limbs. Heat exchanges through the vessel walls. This drastically reduces heat loss. Industrial heat exchangers use the same principle. Arctic marine mammals use it to survive in water colder than ice. In her muzzle, there are specialized heat exchangers in the nasal passages. Air entering at ambient temperature, potentially -60 degrees, passes through these structures. It is warmed before reaching her lungs. This prevents cold-induced lung damage that would be instantly fatal in creatures without this adaptation. Her jaw possesses strength that amazes researchers. Bite force can reach approximately 450 kilograms per square centimeter. This is sufficient to fracture bone frozen solid as granite. Her teeth evolved a specific geometry and density. This allows her to process food sources that most predators cannot access. She can break apart frozen carcasses. She can crack through bone marrow that would be inaccessible to creatures with weaker dentition. Her sense of smell operates at levels that seem almost supernatural. She can detect a caribou kilometers away. She registers not merely presence, but analyzes the animal's status. She knows whether that caribou is male or female by scent alone. She knows approximate age. She knows health status. Most remarkably, she can identify vulnerability. Researchers have documented that she can detect biochemical signatures of illness and weakness. She hunts the weak. She targets the wounded. She pursues those one step closer to natural death. This is not cruelty. This is pure, elegant logic applied at the highest level. A predator wastes energy pursuing fully healthy animals. An intelligent predator seeks the one that can be taken with minimal expenditure of calories. In an environment where each calorie burned can mean death by starvation weeks later, this distinction is everything. Her intelligence is documented across decades of research. Researchers observe that she learns patterns. She adapts tactics in real time based on environmental feedback. In some populations, entirely new hunting techniques emerge from season to season. Techniques that did not exist a generation before are refined and become standard practice. In 2015, researchers tracking packs on Ellesmere Island documented the emergence of a novel hunting strategy. Wolves began coordinating attacks with previously unobserved precision. They appeared to communicate prey location and pack positioning over distances of several kilometers. How is all this possible? How can a creature so small be simultaneously so technically advanced and so socially complex? The answer suggests we have fundamentally misunderstood what drives evolution. We assumed harsh environments produce only the most brutally efficient killers. The white wolf reveals that extreme environments produce thinking beings. Their survival depends not on strength, but on intelligence, cooperation, and the transmission of knowledge. In the cold, only the thinking predator survives to breed again. A pack of white wolves is not merely a group of animals that hunt together, it is a complex civilization with structure, organization, and communication systems of genuine sophistication. To understand the white wolf is to understand that civilization is not uniquely human. This civilization does not operate only through barks and howls. In fact, wolves rarely bark. Their language is far more sophisticated and multi-layered. It is a communication system operating simultaneously on auditory, visual, chemical, and tactile levels. This creates redundancy and nuance. It ensures meaning is transmitted accurately across vast distances and in total darkness. There are long-distance howls that travel many kilometers across the dark tundra. Each howl varies in frequency, tone, duration, and pattern. Researchers are only beginning to decipher what these variations mean. One howl pattern may signal that the pack has regrouped after separation. Another may indicate food discovery in a specific direction. A third may communicate danger. These are not random sounds. These are information packets. These are sentences. Grunts and whines function at close range. Growls communicate status, challenge, and intent. Strategic silences communicate as much as any sound. The absence of expected vocalizations can signal submission or agreement. But auditory communication is only part of the system. The body language of a white wolf is incredibly sophisticated. It operates on a grammar of posture and position, carrying specific meaning. The angle of ears relative to the head, the height of the tail relative to the spine, the degree of tension in specific muscle groups. Researchers have systematically mapped patterns associated with alertness, group cohesion, and play behavior. A wolf with ears sharply forward and tail held high communicates confidence and alertness. One with flattened ears and lowered tail signals submission and fear. A wolf can simultaneously hold multiple positions, communicating conflicting information, simultaneous submission and aggression, fear and determination. This is not binary communication. This is analog. It is continuous. It is capable of expressing nuance. And then, there is chemical language, the hidden communication system operating beneath human perception. Wolves leave scent marks that are far more complex than simple territorial markers. They communicate identity, health status, reproductive status, emotional state, and intention. A wolf can read these marks as a human reads a newspaper. She learns who passed here, when, in what condition, and whether that wolf was potential ally or rival. Researchers observe patterns suggesting elaboration beyond simple territorial communication. There are nuances. There is narrative depth. In a series of studies conducted between 2008 and 2012 in northern Canada, researchers documented what they termed reciprocal olfactory responses. Packs left scent marks in sequence. Other packs responded with marks of their own. This exchange appeared to function as negotiation, not territorial challenge. One wolf leaves her mark. Hours or days later, another wolf smells it. She leaves her own mark in response, not as territorial challenge, but as countermessage. Researchers observe reciprocal olfactory responses as if negotiation were occurring through chemical language. In certain documented cases, packs avoided confrontation with rival packs despite holding numerical advantage. This suggests they had negotiated territorial boundaries through scent exchanges. They did so without ever physically confronting each other. Words fail where scent succeeds. The Arctic's grammar written in molecules, decoded by instinct and memory. Being an apex predator in an extreme environment is not glamorous. It is an existence of impossible choices and constant calculation. Wolves live perpetually on the edge of survival. Hunger is a constant companion. There are weeks when entire packs cannot make a single successful hunt. During these periods, all members lose visible weight. Muscles atrophy. Ribs become visible beneath the thick coat. The pack enters metabolic stress. The body literally consumes itself. Extended hunger forces populations into extreme behaviors. Hunting efficiency drops as bodies weaken. Desperation increases. Risk tolerance rises. Smaller prey normally ignored becomes tempting. Carrion becomes valuable. Under extreme famine, documented cases show wolf packs consuming their own dead. This occurs not as aberrant behavior, but as survival mathematics. But it is rare. It is response to conditions that practically permit no other choice. There is something beyond physical price. There is an emotional price that puzzles scientists. White wolves establish deep bonds. This is not speculation. It is documented fact confirmed by multiple independent research teams across decades. When a pack member dies, others behave in ways researchers consistently describe as mourning. They remain near the body for hours, sometimes days. They do not eat during this period, even when food is available. They vocalize in patterns completely different from any other known behavior. Patterns that could reasonably be interpreted as expressions of grief. They refuse normal interaction. They appear to process something transcending simple biological response. In a 2010 study published in the Journal of Mammalian Biology, researchers documented a pack on the Gwich'in Plateau, maintaining vigil over a deceased alpha female for 72 hours. Pack members refused to eat or hunt. They returned repeatedly to the body. Activity resumed only after the body had frozen solid. How can this be? How can a creature driven by survival imperatives demonstrate emotional adaptation? To loss? The white wolf is not driven only by instinct. She is driven by experience, by learning, by relationship, and apparently, by genuine emotion. Bonds between pack members serve immediate survival functions. They also provide something transcending immediate function. They provide meaning. A female wolf becoming pregnant in an environment where temperature plummets to -50 degrees is making an existential wager. Her pups will require 100 to 150 days of gestation. She will be slower, more vulnerable, more susceptible to extreme cold. When pups are born, they are blind, deaf, helpless, completely dependent on her. She will need to produce milk while the pack hunts. She will teach survival skills in an environment permitting no errors. Half of all pups born do not reach their first birthday. Some freeze, some starve, some are killed in resource scarcity. Situations. Some simply fail, and the mother witnesses this. She is powerless to prevent it. For a breeding pair leading a pack, time at the top is finite. It may be 5 years. It may be 15. Eventually there are younger wolves. Eventually there is challenge. Eventually there is defeat. That wolf who spent her entire life building the pack, teaching techniques, raising generations, dies or is exiled. Everything hunted eventually becomes the hunted. The circle closes, generation after generation. The white wolf does not live only for herself. She lives for transmission. She lives to pass on knowledge and understanding to the next generation. A female wolf that develops successful hunting strategies transmits them to her pups, not through verbal instruction, but through demonstration, through practice, through direct participation in actual hunts. A young pup observes how her mother positions herself relative to wind direction. She watches how her mother stays downwind of prey. She understands instinctively that prey detect danger through scent. She watches this positioning repeatedly, in different contexts, with different prey. She does not receive instruction. She receives repeated demonstration. She learns. She incorporates this knowledge into her own hunting behavior. When it is her time, she positions herself exactly as her mother did. But innovation happens. Young wolves develop variations on inherited techniques. They test new approaches. They discover that coordinated encirclement achieves greater success than direct attack. They learn that seasonal changes require tactical adaptation. These innovations spread through the pack. If a young wolf discovers a new tactic that works, she demonstrates it to her siblings. They observe. They learn. They incorporate it into their own behavior. 5 generations later, what began as one wolf's experiment has become standard technique. This is cultural transmission. This is cultural evolution. Knowledge accumulates. Techniques refine. Understanding deepens. In research spanning 1987 to 2003, scientists tracked a single pack through 40 generations. They documented the emergence and spread of 3 distinct hunting innovations. Each innovation emerged in a specific individual. Each spread throughout the pack within 2 generations. Each generation has potential to be more sophisticated than the previous. There is genuine progress. Genuine advancement occurs across generations and centuries. Ancient populations of white wolves appear less sophisticated in hunting techniques. They appear less developed in social structures. Modern wolves appear more strategically complex. They have evolved, not biologically, but culturally, into more sophisticated predators. There is an evolutionary pattern simultaneously biological and cultural, physical and social. Each reinforces the other. Why should an animal that dominates its environment continue innovating? Why develop increasingly sophisticated structures? Why continue creating patterns resembling civilization? The answer is that there is no evolutionary endpoint. Advancement does not stop when survival is assured. Complexity does not plateau when effectiveness is achieved. Systems continue evolving toward greater sophistication. Research suggests packs maintain distinct traditions. Specific hunting techniques remain associated with particular packs for decades. Techniques persist long after their inventors have died. Culture is not human invention. It is survival written in behavior, inherited like breath. If you could hear what a white wolf thinks, you would access the mind of a creature living in the harshest place while maintaining complex social structures. She does not think about the future as humans do. But she has something equally important: understanding of pattern. She knows through experience that certain actions produce certain consequences. She knows that when she provides food to a pup, that pup grows stronger. She knows that a stronger pup means a stronger pack. She knows that stronger packs survive. Her genes continue. It is pure survival mathematics, wired into every fiber of her being. She knows that marking territory carries meaning. Other wolves understand that space is claimed. Trespassing carries consequences. But she also understands nuance. She knows some marks carry more weight than others. She knows negotiation occurs through codes humans are still deciphering. She knows that there is death. She has witnessed it repeatedly. Pack members become cold and still. Their presence fades into absence. This knowledge of mortality modifies how she lives. It informs her choices. There is documentation of wolves that, after losing close companions, change. Fundamentally, they become less aggressive. They become more protective. They alter hunting patterns. They appear different in some fundamental way. Behaviors like alloparental care occur regularly, caring for pups that are not genetically hers. Regardless of evolutionary mechanism, emotionally and behaviorally, they impress. They suggest something transcending simple calculation. And this raises the question that this documentary poses. If the white wolf has demonstrably complex intelligence, if she exhibits behaviors suggesting care, if she maintains sophisticated social structures, if she actively transmits culture, if she exhibits what appears to be genuine emotion, what is really the fundamental difference between a white wolf and you? The honest answer is, primarily, technology. Humans developed symbolic spoken language. Humans developed written language. Humans created external tools. Humans extended cognitive abilities through technology. Humans created visible civilization. But beneath this surface difference, basic architecture is similar. The need to belong, the desire to continue, the desire to thrive, the need to create, the desire to protect those who matter, the capacity for loyalty, for grief, for hope. And if this observation is true, perhaps we would gain something. Spend less time viewing animals as inferior. Spend more time recognizing them as different, not less intelligent, not less capable, simply different, different in degree, not in kind. The white wolf does not need technology to be sophisticated. She already is. She has been for millennia, building invisible civilizations in the coldest place on Earth, creating social structures of stunning complexity, transmitting knowledge across generations. She hunts, she teaches, she mourns, she remembers, she adapts, she creates. In doing so, she becomes evidence of meaning beyond human understanding, proof that consciousness and culture are not uniquely human. They are fundamental properties of sufficiently complex social beings. She hunts, she teaches, she mourns, she remembers, and in doing so becomes immortal.